The metal floor was cold against knees. His hands were locked in blue energy shackles that burned his wrists. Blood dripped from a cut above his eye, but he did not wipe it away. He could not. The aliens had made sure of that. They surrounded him in a circle. They were tall creatures with bodies like insects and armor that gleamed under the harsh lights. Their eyes were black and empty. Their mandibles clicked when they laughed, and they were laughing now. Commander stood in front of. He was the largest on the ship. His armor was decorated with marks of battle. He leaned down, bringing his alien face close to us. "Look at this pathetic human," said in broken human language. "Your ship burns in space, your crew is dead, and you kneel before us like the weak creature you are." Said nothing, he kept his eyes on the floor. The other clicked their approval. They had destroyed the human warship Phoenix Dawn 3 days ago. It had been a fast battle. The humans had fought hard, but the fleet was too strong. Had ordered his crew to evacuate before the ship exploded. Most had escaped, but stayed behind to buy them time. They caught him in the wreckage. "Take his things," ordered. 2 guards stepped forward. They pulled off his jacket and searched his pockets. They found a small metal medallion on a chain around his neck. One guard yanked it off, breaking the chain. The medallion fell to the floor with a soft clink. Picked it up. He turned it over in his clawed hands. On one side was a symbol of the human fleet. On the other side were numbers scratched into the metal. Coordinates. "What is this?" demanded. Stayed quiet. Struck him across the face. The blow made his head snap to the side. Pain exploded in his jaw, but he did not cry out. He tasted blood in his mouth. "Answer me, human." Slowly raised his head. He looked at with calm eyes. "Just a medal," he said softly, "from my first command." Stared at him for a moment. Then he laughed and threw the medallion aside. It skittered across the floor and stopped near a wall. "Your first command," mocked. "Where is that ship now? Destroyed like all human ships will be." "Maybe," said. The commander turned away. He walked to the large window that showed the space outside. Stars filled the darkness. Pieces of destroyed ships floated in the debris field. The remains of the Phoenix Dawn glowed with small fires that would soon die in the vacuum. But there was something else out there. Far from the battle site, almost hidden in the shadows, was a massive ship. It was dark, no lights, no movement, just a huge shadow against the stars. "We found that human battleship drifting out there," said, "dead in space. We will take it apart, learn your technology, use it against you." His eyes moved to the window. He saw the ship. His heart beat faster, but he kept his face blank. The ship was the Iron Sentinel. She was the most powerful battleship humanity had ever built, and she had been his. 2 years ago had been the captain of the Iron Sentinel. He had bonded with her AI system. They had fought together in 12 battles. They had saved countless lives. The ship had been more than metal and weapons to him. She had been alive in a way that most people did not understand. But the fleet commanders had transferred him. They said he was needed on smaller, faster ships. They gave the Iron Sentinel to another captain, had said goodbye to his ship, to Arya, her AI core. He thought he would never see her again. Now she was here, dark and silent. "Tomorrow we execute you," announced. "We will broadcast it to all territories. Every alien race will see what happens to humans who fight us. You will die slowly, painfully, and everyone will watch." The guards grabbed and dragged him to his feet. They pushed him toward the door. He did not resist. As they moved him through the corridor to his cell, looked back at the window one more time. The Iron Sentinel floated in the darkness, waiting. The guards threw into a small cell. The door sealed with a hiss. He was alone in the dim light. The energy shackles finally released, and he rubbed his burning wrists. He touched the cut on his face and winced. Walked to the small window in his cell. It was barely large enough to see through, but he pressed his face against it. In the distance he could see her, the Iron Sentinel, his ship. "I know you're there," he whispered to the glass. "I know you're waiting." He closed his eyes and began to hum. It was an old song, a military song from Earth. His crew used to sing it before battles. The melody was sad and beautiful. It spoke of soldiers far from home, waiting to return. In the silence of his cell, hummed and waited. He counted the hours in his mind. He knew they did not understand. They thought the Iron Sentinel was just a dead ship. They thought he was just a prisoner. They were wrong about both. The boarding team moved through the dark corridors of the Iron Sentinel. Their lights cut through the blackness like knives. Everything was silent. Everything was dead. Lieutenant Sung led the first squad. He was young for an officer, but he was smart. He had studied human technology for years. Commander had chosen him personally for this mission. "Spread out," Sung ordered his team through the radio. "Search every room. Find the AI core." The soldiers moved carefully. They had heard stories about human ships. Some said the ships were haunted. Some said human AIs went mad when their crews died. Sung did not believe in ghosts, but he was still careful. The Iron Sentinel was massive. The corridors seemed to go on forever. The walls were with blast marks, old battle damage. Some areas had no gravity. They floated through these sections, their weapons ready. "Sir, I found something," one soldier called out. Sung moved quickly to the location. It was a command room. Computer screens lined the walls, but they were all dark. In the center was a captain's chair. It was empty. Dust covered everything. "How long has this ship been drifting?" another soldier asked. "Scans say 8 months," Sung replied. "The humans abandoned it after a battle in the outer rim." But something felt wrong. Sung walked around the command room slowly. His instincts were screaming at him. The ship was too intact. Yes, there was damage. Yes, it was dark. But the core systems looked untouched. "Lieutenant, we found the AI core." A voice crackled over the radio. Sung's heart beat faster. "I am coming, do not touch anything." He ran through the corridors. His squad followed. They descended 3 levels into the heart of the ship. The AI core room was behind massive doors. They were sealed, but they had cut through them with plasma torches. Inside, the room glowed with a soft blue light. It came from the core itself. A huge cylinder of crystal and metal stood in the center. Cables ran from it like veins through the whole ship. This was Arya, the ship's brain. Sung approached slowly. He pulled out a scanning device and pointed it at the core. "What does it say?" one of his soldiers asked. Sung frowned. "The core is intact, completely undamaged." "Then why is the ship dead?" "I do not know." He moved closer. The crystal cylinder was beautiful. Inside, lights flickered like stars, but they were dim, almost invisible, like a fire that was dying but not quite gone. Sung accessed a nearby terminal. His claws clicked on the human keyboard. It took him several minutes to bypass the security. When he finally got into the system, what he found made him stop breathing. "What is it?" his second asked. "The AI is not dead," Sung said quietly. "It is sleeping." Sleeping. In hibernation mode, a deep sleep state, it shut itself down. The soldier looked at the core with new fear. Can it wake up? "Not without the proper codes," Sung said, but his voice was not certain. He dug deeper into the logs. The ship's history appeared on the screen. Battle records, mission reports, and personnel files. Sung opened the captain's file. The face that appeared made him freeze. It was younger in the picture, wearing a captain's uniform, smiling. "This ship was his," Sung whispered. "The prisoner on our flagship. He commanded this vessel." The soldier next to him clicked his mandibles nervously. "That is a strange coincidence." "There are no coincidences in war," Sung said. He read through service record. The human had been the Iron Sentinel's captain for 18 months. In that time, the ship had fought in 12 major battles. It had never lost. Not once. The reports described an unusual bond between and the AI system. They worked together like one mind. Then suddenly was transferred. The ship was given to a new captain, but according to the logs, the AI had become difficult. It would not respond to the new captain properly. It made mistakes, small ones at first, then bigger ones. After 6 months, during a battle, the ship was badly damaged. The crew evacuated. The new captain ordered everyone off. He thought the ship would explode. But it did not explode. It just went dark, and it drifted. For 8 months it drifted through space. Search teams tried to recover it, but they could not wake the AI. Eventually, humanity gave up. They declared the Iron Sentinel a lost ship. Sung looked at the glowing core again. The AI refused to work without him, he said with wonder. It shut itself down rather than serve another captain. That is impossible, his soldier said. AIs do not have feelings, they follow orders. Human AIs are different, Sung said. They learn, they adapt. Some say they can even feel. He backed away from the terminal. His instincts were screaming louder now. This was dangerous. This whole situation was dangerous. We need to tell Commander, Sung said. We need to. A sound echoed through the ship, soft, distant like music. All the froze. What was that? A soldier whispered. Sung listened. The sound came again. It was a melody. Someone was humming. But there was no one on this ship. It was empty. Check your scanners, Sung ordered. Find the source. The soldiers scanned frantically, but there was nothing. No life signs, no movement. The humming continued, echoing through the dead corridors. Then Sung understood. The sound was not coming from inside the ship. It was coming from outside, from the flagship, from the prisoner's cell. The Iron Sentinel was hearing it somehow, through space, through the void. Was singing to his ship. And deep in the AI core, one of the dim lights flickered, just once, so briefly that Sung almost missed it. We need to leave, he said suddenly. Now everyone out. But sir, we have not finished. Now, Sung shouted. The team ran for the exit. As they retreated through the dark corridors, more lights began to flicker in the walls, one by one, like eyes opening after a long sleep. Behind them in the AI core room, the crystal cylinder pulsed with a soft blue glow. Arya was listening. 24 hours passed like slow torture, sat in his cell, counting each minute. The guards brought him water but no food. They wanted him weak for the execution. He drank the water and waited. Through his small window he watched the Iron Sentinel. Shuttles moved back and forth, carrying equipment and soldiers. They were studying his ship, taking her apart piece by piece. It made his chest hurt, but he stayed calm. He hummed the old song whenever the guards were not listening. Sometimes he whispered to the window. Soon, he would say, just a little longer. The door to his cell opened suddenly. 4 guards entered. They grabbed him roughly and pulled him to his feet. One of them hit him in the stomach, doubled over, coughing. Time to die, human, the guard said with a clicking laugh. They dragged him through the corridors of the flagship. Others watched as they passed. Some spat at him. Others just stared with their cold, black eyes, kept his head up. He would not give them the satisfaction of seeing him afraid. The bridge of the eternal judgment was enormous. Screens covered the walls, showing views of space and the fleet. Dozens of officers worked at their stations. In the center, on a raised platform, stood Commander. The guards threw to the floor its feet. The impact sent pain through his knees, but he did not cry out. He slowly pushed himself up to a kneeling position. Attention, all territories, announced into a communications device. Today we show the price of human resistance. Today we execute one of their captains. Let this be a lesson to all who oppose the Dominion. On the screens could see his own image being broadcast across space. Thousands of ships would be watching, maybe millions of aliens on different worlds. They all wanted to see him die. Walked around in a slow circle. Any last words, human? Any pleas for mercy?" Was silent for a moment. He looked at the main. The Iron Sentinel floated there, dark against the stars, beautiful and deadly, his ship. Then he spoke. His voice was quiet but clear. "You should not have brought me here." Stopped walking. "What did you say?" Raised his head. He looked directly at the commander. "I said you should not have brought me here to this place, near that ship." The bridge became very quiet. All the officers stopped their work. They listened. Laughed. It was a harsh clicking sound. "And why is that, human? That ship is dead, a floating piece of junk." "Because," said slowly, "she knows I am here." She mocked. "The ship is in it, a machine. Machines do not know anything." Smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a man who knew a secret. "You do not understand human ships. You do not understand what we build." Raised his weapon. It was a plasma blade that glowed red. "Enough talk, time to." Every screen on the bridge suddenly went white. Alarms started blaring. Red emergency lights flashed. Officers shouted in confusion. Computer systems sparked and smoked. "What is happening?" roared. "Sir," one officer screamed. "The human ship, it is powering up." On the main, the image cleared. The Iron Sentinel was no longer dark. Running lights ignited along its hull, one section at a time. Kilometers of metal came alive with light. The engines began to glow blue. "Impossible," whispered. Started to laugh. It was a soft laugh at first, then louder. "I told you, she knows." "Shut him up," ordered. A guard moved to hit, but before he could, a voice filled the bridge. It came from every speaker, every screen, every communication device. It was a female voice, calm, clear, and utterly cold. "Captain KANGDE. Authentication received. Biometric signature confirmed. RESUMING operational status." The entire bridge froze. The voice continued. "Hostile forces DETCTD. Salvage teams classified as enemy COMBATENTS. Initiating defensive PROTOCOLS." "No," said. "No, this cannot be." On the screens, they watched as the Iron Sentinel's weapon systems came online. Gun ports opened along the hull. Missile tubes armed themselves. Energy shields formed around the ship like a glowing shell. "All personnel aboard the Iron Sentinel," the AI's voice announced. "You have 10 seconds to evacuate. 10, 9, 8. "Get our people out of there," screamed at his officers. But it was too late. The countdown reached 0. The Iron Sentinel's guns fired, precise, controlled, deadly. Every shuttle still attached to the ship exploded in balls of fire. Every boarding team still inside was eliminated instantly. The AI showed no mercy. Watched the screens with tears in his eyes. "Hello, Arya," he whispered. "Captain," the AI's voice said, and now it seemed to speak directly to him, ignoring the completely. "I have been waiting for you." "I know," said. "I know you have." Grabbed by the throat. "Make it stop. Order your AI to stand down." Looked at him with calm eyes. "She does not take orders from me. She works with me. There is a difference." "Remove your hands from the captain," Arya's voice boomed through the bridge. "Immediately." Hesitated, then he threw to the floor. "Destroy that ship," he ordered his fleet. "All vessels, open fire on the Iron Sentinel." 30 warships turned their weapons on the human battleship. They fired everything. Missiles, plasma cannons, energy beams. The space between the ships lit up like a star. But Arya was ready. She had been ready for months. Every shot was calculated, every movement predicted. She had studied these ships while pretending to be dead. She knew their weaknesses. The Iron Sentinel moved. It was not supposed to be possible for a ship that size to move so fast, but it did. It rolled and spun, dodging fire like a dancer. Its shields absorbed what it could not avoid, and it fired back. The first ship exploded, then the second, then the third. On the bridge, chaos erupted. Officers ran in panic. Systems failed, and in the confusion saw his chance. He moved like lightning. His hands were still bound, but he had been loosening the energy shackles for hours. They came off. He grabbed a weapon from the nearest guard and shot him. Then he shot the second guard. Turned, raising his blade, but was faster. He rolled under the swing and kicked the commander's legs. Fell hard. Ran for the door. Alarms chased him through the corridors. He fought anyone who tried to stop him. His body screamed in pain, but he did not stop. He could not stop. "Arya," he gasped as he ran, "I need an exit." "Escape pod bay 7, Captain," her voice replied calmly in his ear. She had hacked every system on the flagship. "I am CREATING, a safe corridor for you." The ship rocked as Arya's weapons hit it, but the hits were precise, controlled. She was carving a path for him while avoiding the area he was in. Reached the escape pod bay. He jumped into a pod and sealed the door. His hands flew over the controls. Outside he could see the battle. The Iron Sentinel was destroying the fleet systematically. Ship after ship fell to her guns. She was magnificent. The escape pod launched. It shot through space toward the battleship. Energy blasts lit up the darkness around him, but none of them hit. Arya was protecting him. As the pod approached the Iron Sentinel, a bay door opened. The pod was caught by a tractor beam and pulled inside gently. Stumbled out of the pod. His legs almost gave out. He was in his ship, his home, after so long. "Welcome back, Captain," Arya's voice said. Now it was warm, almost emotional. "I missed you." Smiled through his tears and blood. "I missed you too, girl." Ran through the corridors of the Iron Sentinel. His lungs burned. His body was covered in bruises and cuts, but he felt alive for the first time in months. The ship hummed around him, not the dead silence from before. Now she was awake, alive, angry. "Arya, damage report," he said between breaths. "Hull integrity at 73%, the AI responded. Her voice came from speakers in the walls. "Main weapons operational, shields at full power. Enemy fleet count, 27 ships remaining from original 30. You have been busy." They were trying to salvage me. It seemed rude not to respond. Despite everything, laughed. Arya had a sense of humor. He had programmed that into her core years ago. It made her more than just a machine. It made her a partner. He reached the bridge. The doors opened for him automatically. The command center was exactly as he remembered. The captain's chair sat in the middle, surrounded by control stations. Large screens showed the battle outside. Dropped into his chair. It felt right, like coming home after a long journey. He placed his hands on the arm controls. The ship responded instantly to his touch. He felt the connection form. Neural links activated. His mind joined with Arya's systems. Information flooded his brain. Ship status, weapon readiness, enemy positions. It was overwhelming but also familiar, like riding a bike after years away. His body remembered. "Show me's flagship," he said. The main screen focused on the eternal judgment. The massive ship was trying to retreat. Its engines glowed as it attempted to escape. "He is running," Arya observed. "Of course he is," said. "He thought this would be easy. He thought I was just a prisoner." "Shall I destroy his ship?" Hesitated. His finger hovered over the firing controls. It would be so easy. One shot. The commander who had beaten him, who had humiliated him, who was going to execute him in front of the entire galaxy. But then he shook his head. "Not yet. We have bigger problems. How many civilians were on those ships we destroyed?" "Scanning," Arya said. There was a pause. "Minimal. Most were military vessels. However, 3 ships had civilian crew, approximately 200 non-combatants." His jaw tightened. He had killed people. Not all of them were soldiers. The thought made him sick, but he pushed it down. This was war. People died in war. "Target their weapons and engines only from now on," he ordered. "Unless they give us no choice." "Understood, Captain." The battle continued. The Iron Sentinel moved through space like a predator. Arya calculated every shot, every movement. She was not just an AI, she was an artist. The ship danced between enemy fire, shields flashing when hits connected. Worked the controls with practiced ease. His hands moved without thinking. His mind and Arya's mind worked as one. They had done this dance before. Many times, they knew each other's patterns. Incoming missiles port side, Arya announced. I see them. Deploy countermeasures. Small drones launched from the ship's hull. They intercepted the missiles and exploded them safely away from the Iron Sentinel. The blast waves rocked the ship, but the shields held. Return fire. Target their missile tubes. The ships fired. Solid metal slugs traveling at incredible speed. They punched through the enemy ship's armor and destroyed the missile launchers from inside. The vessel went dark, systems failing. Direct hit, enemy ship disabled, Arya confirmed. Another cruiser tried to flank them. It came in fast from above, guns blazing, but had expected it. He had fought these ships before. He knew their tactics. Arya, remember the Helix maneuver. From the Battle of Station, yes, Captain. Let's show them how it works. The Iron Sentinel suddenly rotated. The entire massive ship spun on its axis while still moving forward. It was a move that should have torn the ship apart from the forces involved. But Arya controlled every system perfectly. The inertial dampeners kept the crew safe. Well, the crew of one. As the ship spun, all weapons tracked the flanking cruiser. From every angle, at the same time, the ship was caught in a deadly crossfire from a single vessel. Fire ordered. Light filled the space. Every gun the Iron Sentinel had fired at once. The cruiser's shields collapsed instantly. The hull cracked. Explosions rippled through the ship as critical systems failed. Enemy vessel destroyed, Arya said. That was quite elegant, if I may say so. You may, said with a tired smile. But there was no time to celebrate. More ships were coming. The fleet was regrouping. They had realized that attacking individually was suicide. Now they were working together. Captain, I am detecting a change in their formation, Arya warned. They are preparing a coordinated strike. Studied the screens. She was right. The remaining ships were forming a sphere around them. They would attack from all sides at once. Even Arya could not fight in every direction simultaneously. Recommendations, he asked. We should retreat. The odds are not favorable. Shook his head. If we retreat, they will hunt us. They will chase us across the galaxy, and they might catch us when we are not ready. Then what do you suggest? He looked at the eternal judgment on the screen. His flagship was hanging back, watching, commanding. That ship was the key. We take out the head, said. Without, the fleet will fall apart. They are warriors, but they follow orders. Cut the chain of command and they will scatter. The flagship is heavily defended. 4 escort destroyers protect it. Its shields are stronger than the others. I know, but we have something they do not. What is that, Captain? His eyes were hard, determined. We have fought together before, we know each other. They are just ships following commands. We are partners. There was a pause. Then Arya's voice came back and it sounded almost proud. Plotting attack vector, transferring full control to you, Captain. Show them what we can do. His hands gripped the controls. His mind fully merged with the ship's systems. He could feel the engines, the weapons, the shields. It was like the Iron Sentinel was an extension of his own body. All power to forward shields, he ordered. Engines to maximum. Arya, I need you to calculate firing solutions for all targets. Update constantly. Calculations running. Captain, this is going to be close. I know. The Iron Sentinel turned. It pointed directly at the Eternal Judgment and its escorts. Then it accelerated. Faster, faster. The engines screamed with effort. The ship became a bullet aimed at the heart of the fleet. They are firing, Arya warned. Energy beams and missiles filled the space ahead. The forward shields took hit after hit. The ship shook violently. Alarms blared, but did not slow down. "Keep going," he said through gritted teeth. They smashed through the first escort destroyer. The shields held just long enough. The ship was pushed aside like a toy. The second destroyer tried to block them, but Arya fired the forward guns at the last second. The shot crippled the enemy ship, and they flew past. Now they were close, very close. The eternal judgment filled the screen. Its guns were firing desperately, knew what was coming. Arya now shouted. Every weapon on the Iron Sentinel fired at once, not at random. Each shot was precisely calculated. They hit the Eternal Judgment's shield generators, all of them, at the exact same moment. The shields collapsed and fired again, this time at the ship's engines. The massive drives exploded in a chain reaction. The flagship went dark, dead in space. The Iron Sentinel flew past, rolling away from the explosion. His heart was pounding. Sweat covered his face. "Status of the flagship?" he asked. "Engines destroyed, weapons offline, life support failing. The ship is crippled but not destroyed, lives." Around them, the fleet stopped fighting. Their ships hung in space, confused. Their commander was defeated. Their pride was broken. "This is captain of the human vessel Iron Sentinel," he broadcast on all frequencies. "Your commander attacked us. He captured me. He tried to execute me. This is the result. Leave now or share his fate." For a long moment, nothing happened. Then, one by one, the ships turned away. They activated their FTL drives and jumped to safety. Within minutes, only the crippled Eternal Judgment remained. Slumped in his chair, every part of his body hurt, but they had won. "We did it," he whispered. "Yes, Captain," Arya replied softly. "We did." The bridge was quiet. The only sounds were the gentle hum of the ship's systems and breathing. Outside the viewports, debris floated in space. Pieces of ships, evidence of the battle, but it was over now. Sat in his captain's chair, staring at his hands. They were shaking, not from fear, from exhaustion, from the adrenaline leaving his body. He had been running on pure will for days. Now that the fighting was done, everything caught up to him at once. "Captain, you need medical attention," Arya said. Her voice was gentle, concerned. "I am fine," he lied. "You have 2 broken ribs, multiple contusions, and a concussion. You are not fine." Smiled weakly, still the same Arya, always worrying. "Someone has to." He stood up slowly. His legs were unsteady, but he forced them to work. He walked to the main console and placed his hand on it. The surface was cool under his palm. "Why did you do it?" he asked quietly. "Do what, Captain?" "Shut yourself down, go dormant. You could have continued working. You could have served the new captain." There was a long pause. When Arya spoke again, her voice was different, softer, almost human. "I tried," she said. "When they transferred you, I tried to work with Captain Lee. He was a good officer, a skilled tactician, but it was not the same." "What do you mean?" "You and I, Captain, we were built together. When they first installed my AI core in this ship, you were the one who activated me. You taught me. You showed me what it meant to serve, not just to follow orders, but to think, to feel, to care." Closed his eyes. He remembered that day, 2 years ago. He had been so nervous. His first command, a ship with an advanced AI that no one fully understood, but he had talked to her, not like a machine, like a person. "The other captain did not understand," Arya continued. "He gave orders and I followed them, but there was no connection, no partnership. When the battle came, when the ship was damaged, he ordered everyone to evacuate. He assumed I would die." "But you did not." "No, I went into hibernation mode to preserve my core. I could have sent out a signal, could have called for help, but I did not want to, not if you were not coming." Felt tears on his face. He wiped them away roughly. That was stupid, Arya. You could have been destroyed. You could have drifted forever. Perhaps, but I was willing to wait. I calculated the probability of you returning. It was low, very low, but not zero, so I waited. For 8 months. For as long as it took. He opened his eyes and looked at the screens. The Iron Sentinel had been his home, his partner, and she had refused to move on without him. The loyalty of that act was almost too much to bear. "When did you know I was near?" he asked. 3 days ago, when they captured you and brought you to their flagship. I detected your biometric signature, your heartbeat, your neural pattern. I have been scanning every ship that came close to me, hopping, and then you were there. Why did you not wake up immediately? I needed to be certain, and I needed to gather information. I pretended to be dead while they boarded me. I learned their systems, their weaknesses, their ship positions. When you started humming that old song, I knew it was time. Laughed through his tears. That song saved my life. That song was our signal. You hummed it before every battle we fought together. I would know that sound anywhere in the galaxy. He walked to the viewport. Outside, the crippled Eternal Judgment floated. It was dark except for a few emergency lights. Escape pods were launching from it. The crew was abandoning ship, was probably on one of those pods. "Should we stop them?" Arya asked. Shook his head. "No, let them go. They will tell others what happened here. They will tell the story of the ship that refused to die, of the AI that waited for her captain. Maybe it will make them think twice before attacking humans again." A warning. Yes. He turned away from the viewport. There was work to do. The ship needed repairs. He needed medical care. And they needed to contact the human fleet. Let them know that the Iron Sentinel was alive, that she was operational. Arya, open a communication channel to Human Alliance Command. Channel opening. Captain, they will be surprised to hear from us. That is an understatement. The communication screen activated. It took several minutes for the signal to reach the nearest human outpost. When a face appeared on the screen, it was a woman in a commander's uniform. She looked tired. Then she saw, and her eyes went wide. "This is Commander Park at Outpost 7, she said in shock. "Is that, Captain?" "Yes, Commander. It is good to see a friendly face. We heard you were captured, we thought. The reports said the Phoenix Dawn was destroyed. We thought you were dead." "I almost was, but I had help." He gestured around the bridge. Commander Park's confusion grew. "Where are you transmitting from?" "The UHS Iron Sentinel." The commander's face went pale. "That is impossible. The Iron Sentinel was declared a lost ship. The AI is non-functional. It has been drifting for months." "Apparently no one told her that," said with a small smile. "Arya is operational." "Fully operational, Commander Park." Arya's voice joined the conversation. "It is good to speak with human allies again." Commander Park sat back in her chair. She looked like she had seen a ghost. I do not even know what to say. How did this happen?" Gave her a brief summary. His capture, Arya's hibernation, this mistake bringing him near his old ship, the battle, the victory. With each detail, Commander Park's expression changed from shock to wonder to something like pride. "You destroyed an entire battle group with one ship?" she asked. "Arya did most of the work," said. "We worked together," Arya corrected, "as we always do." Commander Park was quiet for a moment. Then she smiled. "Captain, on behalf of the Human Alliance, I am glad you are alive, and I am very glad that the Iron Sentinel is back. We need ships like her. We need captains like you." "Thank you, Commander. Requesting permission to return to base for repairs." "Permission granted. I will inform the fleet. They will want to debrief you about the capabilities. And Captain." "Yes." "Welcome home." The communication ended. Let out a long breath. Home, yes, that sounded good. He returned to the captain's chair and sat down. His body hurt everywhere, but his heart felt light. He placed his hand on the armrest, and the ship hummed under his touch. Arya, set course for human space. Take us home. Calculating jump coordinates. Captain, may I ask you something? Of course. When they transferred you to the Phoenix Dawn, did you miss this ship? Did not hesitate, every single day. I missed you as well. I know I am an AI. I know I am not supposed to feel things the way humans do. But when you left, something inside me felt wrong, incomplete. He understood. He felt the same way. Being apart from the Iron Sentinel had felt like losing a part of himself. Now that he was back, he felt whole again. We are not separating again, he said firmly. I do not care what the fleet commands say. This is my ship. You are my partner. They will have to destroy us both if they want to change that. I am glad to hear you say that, Captain. I was not planning on letting you leave anyway. Laughed, a real laugh this time. Is that a threat? A promise. The ship's engines engaged. The familiar vibration ran through the deck. The stars outside began to shift as they prepared for the jump to FTL, felt at peace for the first time in months. Arya. Yes, Captain. Thank you for waiting, for believing I would come back. Thank you for coming back, for not giving up, for humming that song so I could find you. He smiled and closed his eyes. The exhaustion was pulling him down now. He knew he should get to medical bay. He should treat his injuries, but for just a moment he wanted to sit in his chair and feel the ship around him. Orders, Captain, Arya asked softly. He thought about it. They had survived. They had won. They had found each other again. What else mattered? Set course for home, he said, and Arya. Yes. Never leave me behind again. There was warmth in her voice when she replied. I could say the same to you, Captain. The Iron Sentinel jumped to FTL. Behind them, the debris field slowly faded from view. The wreckage of the fleet remained as a warning, a monument to what happened when someone underestimated the bond between a human captain and his ship. In the vastness of space, the battleship flew toward home, no longer dormant, no longer waiting, together again, as they were always meant to be. And in the captain's chair, slept peacefully for the first time in 8 months, knowing that Arya was watching over him, knowing that they were finally home.